Hi tribe, welcome back to my channel. As some of you or most of you would know, in South Africa in September, the second week is Wheels Week. So Pam said I must answer some questions around wheels. I said, Pam, but haven't I talked about wheels before? And she was like, it's Wheels Week, you'll talk about it every year. So here I am answering questions around wheels. So Pam has 5 questions around wills. Number 1, what is a will? Okay, so a will is basically a document in which you say, this is what I want to happen when I do pass away, right? And I think the most important thing to realize about wills, or just to be aware of, I think especially in the Black culture, we are very afraid of talking about wills because you think, I'm talking about death. So that kind of equates to me. No, it does not. Okay, it does not. Just as much as you get insurance, for me, actually, a will is an insurance. It's an insurance. You get to a car, you put on your seatbelt because you know it's the right thing to do, number 1. But also, you just never know what can happen along the way. Someone stupid can just come and bump into you. But thank goodness you had your seatbelt. Or even insurance. Also, you don't get insurance because you're saying, oh, I will get into a car accident. No, you get insurance because what if? And a will is the biggest what if, because we are all going to go there anyway, right? So I know at some point, and God willing, I live up to 90 and I'm still healthy and I die peacefully, that sort of thing. But that's the biggest what if. We all know that's where we are going. So a will is basically saying, I am making sure that what I want to happen with my family, with my kids, with my partner, with my husband, with my siblings, I'm going to put it in a document so that people are not going to start fighting. Because one thing we pretend does not happen, we actually pretend that it does not happen when it comes to families, when you are married, when you have a partner, or just even as a single person, is that for one reason or another, there will be people who are shady. Okay? And that's the truth, and that's a fact of life. So having a will is saying, I have a document for sure that if Pam comes here and says, no, Mapalo was supporting me, I want a part of the estate, they go back to the will and say, oh, okay. No, that's not what she wanted. All right. So it's basically an extension of your wishes. And I think I want to look at it in a loving way. For me, it's a loving document to say, I want my kids, when they read this thing, to know that I love them deeply, deeply more than anything in this entire world. And to know that even beyond life itself, I was taking care of them. And truly for me, that is my wish. And for me, that is why I have a will. So that my kids can know that, this woman loved us beyond everything. And that includes my siblings, that includes the people that I love. Okay, so if you can change your mind and look at a will in that way, I think it will really just compel you to want to do a will. Because you want to take care of the people you love beyond life itself. Okay, so that is a will, number 1. Then the second thing, what makes a will valid, right? So a will is valid if it's written down. It can't be in your mind. Look, I love my sons, I love my husband, I love my sisters, I love Pam, I love my parents. It has to be written down, right? And remember, for everything to be it's a contract. Actually, I've never thought of it that way, Pam. It is actually a contract. Just as much as we talk about marital contracts, we talk about business contracts. This is a contract, your last contract in the world, to say, I want so and so to have this. I want so and so to have this type of thing, right? So it has to be written down for it to be valid. It cannot be in your heart. Good intentions. It cannot be in your mind. So it has to be written down either by pen or typed out, preferably typed out. I know even if it's written down by hand, it's still valid. it has to be entered into by someone who is of sound mind and someone who is above the age of 18. Excuse me. And also, it has to have witnesses. You can't just do a will by yourself and sign it and say, oh, lovingly, mom. No. I have to get witnesses in on this and say, okay, I wrote down a will. It's either typed or written by hand, and you have to have at least 2 witnesses who are above the age of 14. Okay, so you can't have someone who's younger than 14 and say they were a witness. That's not a valid will. All right, and you have to make sure that that will is signed all the way through to the last page. Actually, I would sign it everywhere, from the first page all the way through to the last. That's what makes a valid will. And most importantly, if someone is a beneficiary in the will, that person cannot be a witness. That will make it invalid. Okay, so you have to be aware. If now I want to leave stuff to my kids or my husband, he cannot be a witness. My kids cannot be a witness. Okay, because a lot of things can happen there. I don't know what is that. I'm forgetting. I did Law 101 in varsity, where you kind of force someone to sign. I can't remember the word. Lawyers, please do help me out here. Yeah, I completely forgot. I hate it when I forget stuff. All right, so it has to so those are the things that make a valid will. Number 3, Pam asked the importance of having a will. Why is it important? I've mentioned what it is. I've mentioned what makes a valid will. But now, why is it important to have this little document? Number 1, and also speaking to why and what is a will, it is important to make sure that your wishes come true, even if you have passed on, right? Imagine you don't have a will and everybody just starts saying, no, but this calculator, she said she was going to give me. Or like people from different sides just start and pulling people from different angles. And I think one of the most important thing why a will is important, and I know I'm using that word too much now, important. The reason why a will is so important, think of your loved ones. When someone passes away, it's such a difficult period. It is the most excruciating pain, right? And now they have to deal with, okay, we don't know what to do next. And a will expresses that. So if you do pass away without a will, and please let go of the stigma of death, because all of us are going there either way. It might not be now, we hope and we pray, we cross our fingers, but it will happen. So having a will makes sure that things get done the way you want. If you die without one, first things first, if you die without a will, this is what is called dying interstate. So you die without a will, it is called dying interstate, meaning that the government will get involved, because if you have a will, what you put there is called an executor. An executor is the person who will handle all the matters and say, oh, okay, we'll divide this way, we'll do this way. Someone who will act in your best interest. And let me clear up a myth. People often say, oh no, if you die without a will, the government will take over and will take your stuff. No, it does not happen like that. What happens is that they will have to appoint an executor. And for them to appoint an executor, they will have to come and investigate. Were you married? Did you have kids? Do you have other dependents? Were other people, depending on you month to month? And how long is that going to take? Have you ever been at a public service, anything? And you know how long it takes. So it's that part of the government, the courts choosing an executor that is excruciating. And that's what normally happens, is that people die without a will and the government has to choose an executor. While they are waiting, while you guys are waiting for them to choose an executor for your estate, what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So even if this person had bank accounts, even if this person, nothing. They are basically frozen. You can't do anything. And if you do try to start taking stuff, that is against the law and you can go to prison. So your kids need to go to school. Let's say this was the main breadwinner. Your kids can't go to school now because things are frozen. You're waiting for the courts to choose an executor for you. You do not want that. And that is why having a will is so, so important. Okay? Please do get a will. But I think which it leads me very nicely to the fourth question. What happens when you die without a will? And I think I've definitely explained it, is that there will be a massive wait. Now, even after COVID, you wait 2 years for an executorship letter. Just a letter to say, okay, Pam is the executor of the estate, right? But now, let's look at it realistically. If they choose an executor that perhaps does not have the best interest at heart, then what? So your wishes, what you would have wanted to happen, is still not going to happen. They can choose an executor for sure, but now it's Pam, and you hated Pam with all your heart, and now Pam is like, yeah, I will show her, So these things are important, all right? So where do you go to get a will? Where do you go to get a will done? I know there's definitely banks that you can go to, but I prefer, and banks normally do it for free, and there's other institutions and companies that do it for free, right? But I don't believe everything's for free in the world. We know that, right? So how is it not free? Remember, someone who is an executor is very involved in your estate, right? So they will look at the house. If the house needs to be sold, that's their time, and time is money. So if you have chosen the bank to be an executor, or anyone for that matter, if it's not a family member, they are going to charge, and they can charge, not they're going to, but they can charge up to 3.99% of your entire estate. And what do I mean by that? So let's say you passed away and your estate was worth 1 million, was worth 5 million. What is 3.99% of that? That's going to go to an executor that they were not even there when you were accumulating all of your assets, and now they come in at the last minute and boom, they get 3.99%. So these are the things that you need to consider. Whereas if you do go to a lawyer, you can negotiate with them, even banks for sure, you can negotiate with them. But remember, whenever you go to a financial institution, or any institution for that matter, be informed. Come with information yourself, so that then you can negotiate and you come from a point of knowledge, right? So they can charge up to 3.99%, but if you go to a lawyer and you can negotiate with them, you can say, okay, no, my sister can be the executor, and you can help them out to just wind up everything. So very important stuff. Then the last question Pam asked, she's a smart one, as you can see. Pam asked, how often should you update your will? And the thing that you should do all the time, whenever there's a life-changing event, that's a good time to update your will. What do I mean? If you have a child, if you have another one, please update your will. If you get divorced, please update your will. If you get married, please update your will, all right? If people have passed on that way in the will before, update your will. The craziest thing, and I learned this when I was doing my CFP, which I didn't finish, but a story for another day, is that if, let's say you get divorced, right? And within 3 months you do not change your will, and your spouse was still your beneficiary of the will, within 3 months. So in month 2, you still haven't changed it, and something happens to you. The courts will say the likelihood that, they were distraught, life was happening, perhaps they didn't want this, it can be reviewed. But after 3 months, like you had 3 whole months after divorce to say, I want to change my will, they're going to take it like, oh no, they still thought that there would be reconciliation. Yeah. So even after divorce, please do remember to change your will immediately. Okay. So I think in those 5 questions, we've answered very important things around wills and the importance of it, what is it, and where to go. And I think in the description box, what I will do, I will leave my own lawyer's details, but please don't spam them with rubbish. We don't do that on this channel. It's only people who say, I want a valid will, and they do charge a fee for that. And you will know that it is exactly the type of will that you want, and it is thorough, and it meets all the criteria for it to be a valid will. She's not even getting me paid for this. But you know, I believe that you guys must get the right information and know exactly where to go. Otherwise, you can do it with a bank, but make sure that you go with the right information again. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Please do share with your parents, share with your uncles, aunts, everyone in your families, people who are married, not married. Oh, another thing, a lot of the times people say, no, I don't want to have a will because I don't have a lot of assets. You know what, it's not even just about assets. It's just about, okay, I just want the car that I have to go to this person, and that's it. Okay, so don't wait until you have massive assets for you to start having a will. What were you saying, Pam?
Guardianship.
Yes. If you have kids, the most important thing, all right, even it's not just about assets, but your kids as well. If you have young children, a will is so important because that's where you get to choose a guardian. So God forbid both mom and dad pass away, or you're a single parent, it can happen that people can pass away. Leaving the guardian, because you don't want your kids maybe to go to Pam. I'm using Pam as an example because I love Pam. You know, I can use she's like but imagine your kids have bring the executor says, oh no, they have an aunt, then taking them to that aunt whom you perhaps don't even like. All right, and sometimes it's not even about who has the most amount of money, because I think when it comes to families, people think, oh no, if I pass away, I want my kids. No, that person might be the most rude person. They might not, but they might be the person who's not healed, and yet they can go to Pam, who is loving, who's nurturing. And hopefully you do have some sort of life cover that you can live with Pam so that you can take care of your kids. But it's not about the richest person in the family. It's about who is the right fit for your kids, because you know your kids best, and a will helps you to do that. All right. So again, as always, thank you so much for watching. Please do share this information, because I think our communities, we need this information. Cheers for now.